Everyone.
LinkedIn live session, and we are very happy to have you here. And today we are going to look at growth marketing and performance marketing. And before we go there, let us quickly go through our mission, vision, and our values. So, we enable brands and startups to resonate with their audiences affordably and efficiently. Our mission is to apply branding, digital e-commerce, and design capabilities to enable startups and brands to develop world-class skills and abilities and meet their consumers' needs efficiently. The values we cherish are integrity, honesty, cooperation, constant learning, and principled entrepreneurship because they help us deliver the results that we promise. We start by doing the right thing even if nobody is watching. We depend on each other because we are a team. We develop ourselves and others by constantly staying updated, and we drive efforts like an entrepreneur, which means taking accountability for our actions and learning from our mistakes. All of these help us deliver the results that we commit. Now, today we are going to look at performance marketing and growth marketing, and specifically what suits D2C brands best. Okay. Performance marketing, as you may be aware of, it is using online ad platforms like Google Ads, then Meta, and all. And that is what we do when we run campaigns, right? We use these platforms to show our ads to people. Growth marketing is something different, and we will see the difference between performance and growth marketing and when to use which one. Okay.
Shukti, I just want to say a
This,
few things. What to expect in this presentation.
yes,
This presentation is primarily made from the perspective of D2C brands.
yes,
Yeah, most of the D2C brands, when they start operating, the only thing in their mind is that we will use Facebook, Instagram, or Google. We'll start running ads. We'll start getting orders. That is the simplest definition most of the D2C brand have in their mind when they start working with any agency like ourselves. Okay, and they believe that just by running ads they will be very very profitable. They will make big business like a boat or any other big brand like that, but it doesn't happen. Why it doesn't happen? Because running business is not as simple as running ads on Google and Meta. It has got multiple layers, and those multiple layers are encompassed in growth marketing. And lot of companies, lot of brands, lot of startups are confused what exactly is the difference between the two. So in this presentation we are going to get into detail and talk about this, and we are also going to talk about that when to do what kind of a thing also, because what we are not saying is that don't do uh, performance marketing and just do growth marketing. What we are saying, we are going to talk about in this presentation, that how to start, when to do what growth marketing entails, what performance marketing entails, so that it becomes clearer to new startups or founders, marketers, and people like that.
yeah, absolutely true, Avinash. There is actually a time and place for doing both of them. So we
So,
will see when that applies, okay? But before we get there, let us look at where we are now. Okay, I think this is what a lot of D2C brands today identify with, because the market is now more competitive. We have so many rivals across industries, and people are spoiled for choices. On top of that, they are being constantly bombarded by content. So where is this all leading to? Probably for a lot of you, you're spending a lot but you are not seeing your business grow, because like Avinash said, running ads is one thing, but growing your business, sustaining it, is a different thing altogether. Okay, revenues keep on growing but margins are quietly shrinking, and this is especially true because a lot of brands enter pricing wars. Okay, and this is something which they kind of think is inevitable, because we are living in the age of e-commerce behemoths who can kind of let go of their margins and still sell a lot. But unfortunately, a lot of brands are not in that position. Still, they enter the pricing wars, and then that just eats away the margins. Okay? The result of this, the cost per acquisition, it keeps going up. Okay, and there seems to be no ceiling inside. Everything gets more expensive. You are renting attention at higher rates for smaller time, and there is just no end to it. On the other hand, the metrics that you are tracking, the ROS kind of seems healthy. Okay, we are seeing that people are reporting a ROAS of 6 7 and all, but then that is not telling the full story. You may be experiencing a lot of, you may be seeing a lot of sales, but on the other hand you have shrunk your margin so much that even after selling double the number of items you sold last year, you have less profits. That is actually happening. And problem is, the instinct here is to spend more and kind of hope that this will work out. But the thing is, after some time, inevitably this folds. So this is actually not a spending issue as we see it, but this is an allocation issue. We are doing everything, but we just don't know how to strategize this spend well. Okay, and that is very fundamental. We have to pay attention to this.
Yep. Shakti, just to add to what you said, when your strategy is all about spending money on Meta and Google, what it does is that you are just running paid campaigns. The focus of the founder or focus of the strategy shift towards how to spend more. Business is not about spending more. Business is all about resolving customers' problem. Okay, when you resolve customers' pain point profitably, that's when you make money. Okay, so the classics of marketing, classics of business, like creating unique product, creating unique stories, solving customer problems, don't go away. Okay, but just by running a paid campaign, you cannot communicate the entire brand story to your customers. Okay, many times what happens that brands focus a lot on these ads. They're running ad after ad, running ad after ad, but the brand's messaging is not getting communicated. What brand stands for is not getting communicated. Founders stop working on the customer's problem. Their entire attention shift towards how do I spend more, because if I spend more, I will get more revenue. If I get more revenue, I can spend even more, and that's a vicious cycle. They don't sit down and see what is that they can do by which they can have a sustainable business. And sustainable business is the need of the hour today, because there are more and more brands coming. Every brand is having the same strategy. They want to do more and more ad campaign, more and more effective ad campaign, and that's what it is. So it's a doom cycle. It's a cycle which is only going down. So when you start to have a unique product, unique brand story, when you start to solve consumer problem, when you start to connect with your audience, that is when you make a sustainable business. And that's the reason, just by spending more, you cannot grow your business. In fact, there will come a time when you will spend more and you will do less revenue.
Absolutely, and I believe that one of the other factors which is compounding this is that people are so caught up in execution and with their short term revenue goals, they kind of stop paying attention to how the market is changing overall and how customers are expecting more. And they stop thinking about how to connect with them, how to explain their offerings in a way that resonates. And that is also impacting this in a very negative way. Okay, because one thing we have to remember, more speed isn't really the solution here. Okay, people kind of think that the more campaigns we do and we have to launch them now, yes, but then that will not take you anywhere if you don't have a proper strategy and you don't articulate what is it that you're offering. You don't understand your customers problems. Okay, ad platform costs are going to rise even more. It is rising every year, and this will add to your budget. Okay, and if you are just spending more without fixing retention for your brand, you are actually just pouring money into a leaky bucket. Okay, acquisition is essential for growing the business, but what good does it do if you acquire a customer and then they never come back? You have to allocate resources to acquire that customer back again. Instead of just pouring money into acquisition, you have to think of your retention strategy as well. And remember that today attention is truly fragmented. We see that people are spending a lot, okay, but today customer will interact with your brands across multiple touch points, and each touch point will bring its own challenges. Okay, so if you are spending a lot but your spend is kind of fragmenting everything, then it is not going to give you results. And if you think that campaigns is the only way to grow, then you are mistaken, because this always hits a ceiling, like Avinash said.
Actually, the problem is this, that every brand thinks that now with AI, I can do more. I can make ads faster. I can optimize them faster and things like that. In fact, a company approached us and they said that, hey Avinash, you just connect your website with our platform, and within 5 minutes, we'll give you 50 ads. And I'm like, but I don't want to run 50 ads. And he's like, no, but you can get 50 ads. Just imagine that you can be 50 times faster than competition. Competition is launching one ad and you can launch 50. And I was like, you are going to sell to my competition also, and I am going to do 50, my competition is going to do 50, both of us are doing 50-50. Where am I going? Now the point is that that's what happens with most of the brand. They think that, with AI I can do it so much faster, so many good things I can do. But it's not about speed. It's not about speed. It's not about spends. It's about your story. It's about connecting with users, and building a relationship with them. And relationships don't get built like that. Yes, you can use AI to brainstorm. Yes, you can use other things to do research faster. But your strategy should not be built just like, just start running campaigns. I can tell you, last week we acquired a very big brand. Okay, and we got on board, and they're like, and they had a big issue with the previous agency. They were not getting enough ROAS and all that, and they hired us. And in 2 days time, they're saying, when are you starting my ad? We are losing time. Now the point is this, that, you know, I was like, let me fix your UI UX first. Let me fix your speed issues first. Let me get the right ad copies out there. Let me get the right content out there. Please allow me some time. And they're like, we are losing time. We are losing time. We are losing time. It's not about that. Please, spending is not the issue. Spending is the easiest thing anybody can do. Generating ROAS out of it is a very big task, and you need to be very strategic about it. And that's what we are going to talk about in this presentation as we go along.
Yeah. Okay. See, first, in order to understand the concept of ROAS and understand where growth marketing happens, first we have to understand what is performance marketing. Okay. So you all know how it works. You place your ad on a platform and it is shown to people, and primarily you pay the platform when something happens, like somebody is clicking on your ad or something like that, and then you can trace every rupee back to that specific action, that I had so many clicks, due to which I have to pay the platform this much. Okay, so this is obviously measurable and this is good. Okay, and the thing here is, if you have demand for a certain type of product, then you probably will get those clicks. Okay, performance marketing actually helps you sell on back of existing demand. Okay, and this is where the channels, they intercept users who are already in that pathway. Okay, they are there, they are searching, they may not be ready to buy just yet, but they do have an intention of buying 5 months from now when they cash in a big paycheck. Okay, they are searching for information, they're comparing things, they're looking up the right kind of materials and other things, and they're ready to convert eventually. That is where your ads come in. Okay, and your whole journey is nurtured by ads in its various stages. Okay? The metrics that we track here are things like customer acquisition costs, ROAS, conversion rates, and this is pretty fast, it is scalable, and for early stage validation it is actually pretty helpful. But this will get you revenue. It is not enough to sustain your brand or grow it. Okay, we think that just because we are running campaigns we are doing great. Look carefully at your balance sheet. Things may not be as rosy as you are thinking they are. Okay, so we have to understand why and when performance marketing should be done and when is the time for growth marketing. So, like we said, when you do performance marketing, it's great as long as it's working, but eventually it will always hit a ceiling. Okay, your warm audience, no matter how big a brand you are, you will eventually exhaust them. Okay, at one point of time, people will just not have enough interest to give you any more. Okay? And the thing about platform algorithms is that they will become more expensive. Every year they are getting more expensive. And problem here is that we usually allocate a lot of funds to prospective campaigns, which is getting new customers, which is fine. Obviously you should get. But then what we are acquiring are a lot of one-time buyers. So they don't build a brand, they just drain you. They can take one product from you and then they never come back. So that is opportunity lost. The good thing to do is acquire a customer and then retain them, because then you don't have to spend time and energy again in acquiring them. And problem with performance marketing, turn off the ads and the revenue stops. As long as you pay Google to place your ads on top, that's fine. The moment you stop paying, it will go. So unless you have created a good impression on your customers, unless you are memorable, they will not come back to you once your ads are no longer being seen. So keep that in mind.
Shruti, I want to share an example here. So we have a
Yes.
very large American client, and we have been handling the performance marketing for a very long time. We have been talking to them about growth marketing for a very long time. We have been suggesting them to do certain things, and they have been paying attention to what we are saying, but they have not been very strategic about it. They try to avoid those costs because the business is good, they're making good money and all that. What happens that for some reason once their Google account got suspended, and the account was suspended for almost 20 days, and in 20 days they lost so much revenue. They were literally they were like they were literally fighting with Google day in day out, saying that where are you starting my our account. And and that's when they started to pay attention to what we have been telling them, to focus or de-risk their entire portfolio by doing other things also. And now, we are doing multiple other things with them, including email marketing, yeah, SMS marketing, and things like that. We are working on CRO, optimizing the home page and other things, and lot of those things have started to give results. Now that's how you de-risk your portfolio. That's how you start to make more money. And they're starting to realize that over dependence on one platform might not be good. So now
Yes.
this is an example, which is not exactly example wherein performance marketing has hit the ceiling and things like that, but what it tells you that over dependence on something is not very good. See, today, just imagine that suppose you are a brand which is over relying on, say, Google, and ChatGPT comes, revolution happens, and Google goes out of business. Let's say, let's let's have a long shot. What will you do? you lost the driver of your business. So that's why it is important that you build your business in such a way that it becomes sustainable. You're not depending on one platform fully for driving your revenue, and that is something which actually tells you why it is important to build your business in such a way that it is sustainable.
True, very true. It is important. So this is where growth marketing comes in, like Avinash was talking about. Okay? So what is it? Okay? Growth marketing doesn't really stop when somebody buys. Okay? Once I have brought this bag, that's it. That's my relationship with the brand. I am never coming back. That is not healthy. Growth marketing essentially steps in and says that, hey, stay back, we have more, so let's work together for a while. Okay. Growth marketing starts with questions. It says, did they come back? Did they refer us to someone? Did they spend here second time? Did they buy enough? Acquisition, motivation, retention, referral, all four combine to create growth marketing. Okay. Your economics for your brand will only make sense when all four of these will work. A lot of people are very good at acquiring clients. They are even good at activating them, but retaining them is where the real challenge is. And referral you can kind of achieve with some sort of referral discount and all, which is fine. But in the long term, that loyalty, that word of mouth publicity is something which you cannot achieve. Okay, so you have to pay attention to retaining your customers. The core deliverables in this case, they are not just creatives or ad copies. Okay, they are kind of systems. Okay, think Avinash already mentioned a few things like SMS, CARO, email, WhatsApp automation, life cycle journeys, okay, referral programs, cohort tracking. These things will become very important because they see how effectively you have built that relationship with the customer that you have acquired. Okay. It is very much data dependent. You have to have good data and you have to analyze, you have to draw your insights and then tweak your strategies accordingly. But it does not just look at ROAS and call it a day. You have to look at data differently and you have to look at different things. Okay? So where earlier performance marketing only focuses on ROAS and CSE, here you have something called lifetime customer value. How much did this person's spend on us during their association? Retention rate, how many of them stayed back, how many of them never came back? Repeat purchase rate, how often are people buying from us? The CAC to LTV ratio, this ratio especially is very important in understanding whether you are successful in retaining people, which indicates that your growth marketing strategies are working. Okay. Growth marketing actually builds the infrastructure. When you build this infrastructure, eventually you will see that your performance marketing also becomes less expensive. Your CSE will go down. Referrals, when they start happening, when people start referring your brand to others, you'll acquire customers without spending more. Okay. And then once you have created that sort of foundation, people will just come to you because you are you. Okay, you don't have to work too much to get the word out there. Okay, and keep this in mind, growth marketing will also need performance marketing to work with it. Okay, this is not an either or kind of an approach. You have to strategically use both.
Yep. And Shukti, but just something which I want to highlight is that many times what happens that when we talk to startups and we talk about some of this, and I'm not saying all of this, we talk about some of this, they say that this is not a priority. We don't want to do it. We don't see the value of doing it, and things like that. Now, what I want to tell them is this, that this is what will differentiate. This is what will make you survive. This is what will make you thrive. Just depending on performance marketing is not going to be the long-term solution. You might survive for some time, but then it will become a roadblock. And one more thing I want to say is that this takes time. Running an ad on Google is very easy. You just create an account, put ad copies and things like that, and you start running the ad. Okay, and you might start to drive traffic to your website. But these things are slow burner. They take time to build. But once it is built, it generates business on autopilot. And because generate business on autopilot, it takes time. And that's why you need to start working on it as soon as you can. Don't ignore it, don't avoid it. This is important and this is very, very important.
True, very true. Now, what Avinash said, okay, why we need to do this and where we need to, what is the difference here that we have to understand. First, what is performance marketing bringing? Okay, it is built for speed. You run a campaign and people immediately start noticing you because your ad is everywhere. That is what performance marketing does. Growth marketing, it is built for durability. And like Avinash said, that will always take time. Okay, if you think of your wellness goals, you don't hit your goals right off the bat. You build yourself up, and over months and years you get there. That is exactly what happens when you do growth marketing for your brand also, because once you've built that foundation, it will pay off. Okay, performance marketing is campaign driven, so you can switch it on, switch it off depending on your budget. But growth marketing is system driven. When you create that system, it generates revenue on autopilot, like Avinash said. Okay, and it will improve with every cycle. If you iterate it right, if you keep tweaking it, if you look at the right data points, you will know how to make it better. It compounds, and this compounding effect is the entire point here. We have already said that the metrics that performance marketing tracks are things like CAC, ROAS, conversion rates, which are important. But growth marketing goes beyond that. It looks at customer lifetime value, retention rate, CAC to LTV ratio, which is a very, very important ratio. The point of performance marketing is acquiring customers, but growth marketing is about retaining them and building relationships. Yes, you will do performance marketing, but that doesn't mean that you just do performance marketing. You have to do growth marketing as well. As Avinash says, we see this with a lot of brands. Everyone thinks chalta hai, sales to ho raha hai, but then you have to move beyond that, because otherwise what you have built is a very strong top of the funnel. Okay, so you keep acquiring, but the bottom of it is broken. So whatever you acquire, it kind of just goes to waste after one campaign cycle. Now, what do we suggest here? Okay, what we call our growth stage framework. First, look at your budget and your business size. Okay, so let's say you are around 10 crore. Focus more on performance marketing because you will need to acquire customers. Okay, that doesn't mean you completely neglect, but do focus on performance marketing, because here you need validation, you need to build traction. Okay, so it will help you test demand and you will get some early cash, which is great. This also helps you acquire data. Okay, use that data, understand what is working with your customers, what is not working with them, what products are working in your portfolio, what is not, and then create your strategy accordingly. Now when you keep growing and you are, let's say, in a range of 10 to 50 crores, you will see that your acquisition costs will start rising and your ROAS will start softening. Why? Because now you have hit that ceiling. Most brands get stuck in this plateau and kind of never go past it. This is very, very common. I think a lot of businesses will understand this. Then we have the mature stage. This is for people who have gone past 50 crores. And here they have built this system of growth marketing. This is putting their business on autopilot. It has become the primary lever, and it is fed by their retention engine. Once somebody buys your product, they keep buying it, they keep updating it, they buy more products from you, and LTV here is high enough that CAC is less of a crisis. You all have those D2C brands that you personally are very fond of, and you will see that you will keep going back to them without even seeing an ad for them. A very common example I'll give here is Amul butter. You don't need to see an ad anymore, you just go there and you get there. Why? Because like for whatever reasons they have been for a long time here, and they've built that kind of familiarity. Okay? You need to get your brand up there, you have to use the channels available to build up that level. Okay, so what do you look at when you decide that okay fine, now I need to shift more towards growth marketing? First of all, look for this plateau. If you are seeing your acquisition costs rising but your lifetime value staying flat, pay attention. If the repeat purchase rate is below 25% or so, then you definitely need to look at growth marketing, because that means you have to retain those who are with you. And if ROAS is declining despite you launching new sorts of creatives or taking new tactics, it's time. What we recommend is you start with like 70% performance and 30% growth, and then eventually you reach that stage where you do a kind of 50-50 split. Okay? And 5 numbers that will help you track your performance with your growth model. Obviously, customer acquisition cost, very important. You still have to know how much you are spending to acquire a new customer. Lifetime value, extremely important, because this is a total revenue a customer generates when they are doing their shopping with you. Okay, and the ratio of this CAC is to LTV. This is the key D2C metric that people have to look at when they want to understand when to shift and whether their model is working or not. The healthy benchmark is 1:3 or better, which means you acquire a customer one time, and after that they have spent 3 times that number in their relationship with your brand. Okay, if you cannot hit that level, then your business model will run into difficulties. Okay, this is the single most important thing. Apart from that, pay attention to your conversion rate and your retention rate, because these are important metrics. Conversion rate, like CAC, tells you how successful your campaign is, who actually buys, and retention, how many people stick with you. This is very important. Okay? So track this throughout and make sure you have clean, good data that you can analyze. Now, when do you know that you have to start building the systems? Okay. Look for these plateau systems. Okay. Flat LTV and rising CAC. Okay. Your CAC is rising, your lifetime value is not moving, growth has become stagnant, you have refreshed your creatives, you have tested a lot of things, A/B testing has been happening, you're optimizing your web pages, but you don't see a difference, then this means that there is something severely wrong, or this means that you have to do more. Low repeat purchases, less than 25%, means it is not working. Okay? And the moment you turn off the ads, if sales stop coming, then that means you have become too dependent on one platform and it is not serving you anymore. We all have heard that saying that, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Here also you have to keep that in mind. Okay? And you have to keep these signals, keep watch for these signals very diligently. what does growth marketing actually deliver? Okay. Email and WhatsApp automation. I think any D2C brand today in India, they know very well about WhatsApp automation. Okay. These are very high ROI retention channels. Okay. Because here you can directly speak to the customers, you can send them direct updates. People who have kind of abandoned the cart and gone away, with some reminders, they can come back and the transaction can be completed. Instant query resolution, everything can happen. With emails, you get your message straight into their mailboxes, you can nurture them, you can educate them. So these are very, very important channels. Okay. And even in the age of WhatsApp and social media and all, email remains a very high ROI channel. Okay, it's still one of the channels that gives you great returns. Next, conversion rate optimization. Okay. Unfortunately, this is something which Indian D2C brands don't seem to realize. Conversion rate optimization is very, very important. Your site looks good, but that does not make it a good site. A good site is something which is giving you sales. And if people are coming to your website and they are dropping off, they are not buying from it, then what good is it doing for you? You have to follow the best practice, do A/B testing, and then make improvements where possible. Even 1% uplift in your conversion rates can significantly impact your finances. Just try it and see. Okay. And the referral and loyalty programs, no brainer. When people stay with you, you are not spending time, money, resources to make them buy again from you. You are not spending time acquiring them anew. Okay. And effectively, after some time, for some customers, the CAC becomes nearly zero because they have stuck to you and they keep buying from you. Referral, they act as your own brand ambassadors, so they keep saying good things about you to their friends on online forums and all, and then they come, other customers approach you, and you should reward them, you should nurture them with good loyalty rewards and other sort of exercises so that they stay loyal to you and they feel valued. Okay. This is something which paid ads, this is something which goes beyond paid ads. Okay. And identify your high LTV cohorts. Okay. Track and leverage retention data. How many people are staying with you? How many people are going? How many people are responding with you? And who are they? What profile are they? And see what this retention data tells you. Is there something a certain region, some sort of demographics at work? Is there something else going on there? The way you resolved queries, the way you presented your offerings, what is it? Okay. Acquire and retain smarter. The compounding effect here is that CAC comes down, your acquisition value, they come down, and lifetime value goes up. And like we said, 1:3 is a healthy ratio here. Okay. And this is what sustainable scaling looks like. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything less than that eventually will put your business under pressure.
Yeah. Shukti, out of this list, the conversion rate optimization, can you go back, Shukti?
Yeah.
So conversion rate optimization is something which is very difficult to explain to customer. They simply don't get the logic.
Yeah.
They say that I love my site and that's good enough. And that's never the case. And cohort analysis and retention tracking is virtually impossible. Customers don't even look at what's happening on Google Analytics. These things become way beyond. So, but I want to tell you that these things do work, and they make your business rock solid. Okay, and so
Yes.
if you're serious about your business, you need to start building them, and it is built brick by brick, and it takes time.
True.
So the earlier you start, the better it is.
True. And I I think one of the things that D2C brands, even now, they don't realize it, the amount of change that AI has brought about in customer expectations. Okay, people are discovering brands in new ways. They're gathering information about whatever they want in new ways. They're getting answers in new ways. And if you don't pay attention to the CRO best practices, you will not be able to meet your customers where they are. And you have to be very diligent here, because otherwise you are leaving a lot of avenues unexplored and a lot of money on the table. Now, how do you split this budget? Remember when we said that we look at the three stages here. Okay, the early stage where you are around 10 crore or something. Okay, 70 to 30 or 80 or 20 split between performance and growth foundation is probably fine. Okay, you need more on performance this time because you will need to gather data. Okay, we are not saying that you completely ignore growth marketing at this point. You start building the foundation because this will matter. This will set up your basic retention policies. Okay. Then when you kind of start scaling, and by the time you kind of hit the ceiling on performance marketing, it should be around 65% performance and 35% growth systems. Your CAC has started to climb. Okay, you have to look at conversion optimization, you have to look at life cycle marketing and cohort tracking, because once the ceiling hits, it becomes very, very difficult. Okay, so pay attention to the signs, track your numbers thoroughly, and whenever you see that a clear pattern is emerging, it's time to make the shift. And eventually you can do a 50-50 split. And at scale, growth systems, they start kind of compounding: the own channel revenue, then referral acquisitions, improved LTV, great CAC to LTV ratios. These are all the hallmarks of this, the growth channels working well. And understand this: your budget allocation should follow signal, not habit. Out of pure habit, people often just put things into certain types of campaigns and then forget about it. The American brand that Avinash was talking about, when they came to us, they actually had fallen into habit, and they were allocating spend to the long channels because that is what they have always done. But unfortunately, the channels which were paying off 10 years ago no longer worked for them. So this is something which a lot of brands don't understand. Okay, and if a cohort of customers acquired in a given month don't recover their CAC within a reasonable payback period, we would say, depending obviously on your product, but within 3 cycles or so, if they don't pay back, then you have a massive problem waiting for you. No amount of budget split will be there to save. Okay, so get your unit economics right first and then scale. Remember this: if you scale too fast, you'll fall. Okay, brands who do this historically, not just on digital channels but even the pre-internet penetration days, any company which has tried to scale too fast has almost always run into difficulties. So ambition is good, but if you don't have the foundation to support your ambitions, then it is not going to work out. Okay, be patient. And if you want to understand how to go about it, you start asking yourself 3 questions. What is your current CAC to LTV ratio? The amount of money you are spending acquiring your customers. Okay, how much is that customer spending while they are in a relationship with your brand? Track that. Okay. Anything that is less than 1:3 is going to be a problem. What percentage of your customers buy more than once? Very, very important. This will, unfortunately, this depends on your pricing and the kind of products you have and all. But if you don't have repeat buyers, then you need to look at everything from your customer support to the kind of products that you are making. Everything has to be looked at, because You don't know where the leak is occurring. You have to talk to your customers and listen. And what percentage of your revenue comes from own channels? This is very, very important, because if you are just spending to rent attention and getting people to buy from you after you spend a lot of money, then that is not a sustainable model. And if you don't have clear answers to all three, then you are in big trouble. This is where you start as a business. Okay? So this is what we will, leave you with. And do this exercise, see if you have the answers, get back to us and we can discuss further. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. I think we have a few questions here. So there's a question. You have mentioned an approximate budget split of 70-30 for performance and growth marketing. But for brands in nascent segments without enough customer awareness or having a slim customer base, this can vary, right? I mean, they need to focus on more potential customer first rather than retention. Of course, like we said that, see, your budget is only so much. Okay. So that is why we are saying majority of it should get into performance marketing and all. But if you don't start building the foundation right from the start, you will face problems, because after a time your budget will have to be divided between performance marketing when the platform costs keep going up, and then you'll see that you have become more dependent on one channel. You don't have enough data, and if you had built your, let's say, email list by then, you could have gotten more sales. So yes, but you have to start building. We are not saying that you allocate 100% of your budget to growth marketing right from the outset, but even if it's a small amount, at least 20% to the 80% of your performance marketing, that should happen. Okay. So yeah, so I think that is the question that we have here. And yeah, so thank you very much for coming to our LinkedIn live session, and we will meet again next week when we discuss something else about authority and reputation. So yeah, let's meet then. Thank you.
Thank you everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.